Joining me to discuss this is Commander Arnab Das, Director of the Maritime Research Center. Commander Das, welcome to the News 9 Plus show.
Thank you for having me here.
Why is India involved in a race to the seabed?
There are multiple factors. First of all, definitely the resources that are available. I mean, whether it is energy security or various other, I mean, from the strategic security perspective also, we need to build those capabilities to be able to, maintain our presence in the underwater.
Right.
I mean, 6 times more resources for the EV is available in the deep oceans.
Right.
So definitely
Electric vehicles.
Yes. And also, the polymetallic nodules. I mean, from an energy security perspective, there are methane and so many other things that are available. And Government of India is definitely focusing in the Indian Ocean region now.
Yes.
Because we have not explored it so much earlier, but now there is so much to be done. So definitely there's a very focused approach towards it.
So, I've been hearing about polymetallic nodules ever since I was in school, Commander Das, and I know the fact that they are potato-sized lumps of minerals that are found on the seabed at depths between 4 and 6 kilometers.
Yes.
Explain to our viewers the complexity of getting those nodules from the seabed. I mean, I would argue of developing something like a vacuum cleaner and running it on the seabed and sucking it up and using the minerals. But tell us why it's not as easy as it sounds.
There are 2 parts to it. I mean, one is the exploration and the second is the exploitation.
Right.
So, I mean, as you know, the tropical waters.
Yes. Which is the Indian Ocean, the warmer waters. Also, yes.
The tropical waters, I mean, the warm waters as we call it, the sonars that are used, I mean, sonars were typically designed and developed during the Cold War period for the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap.
Yes.
I mean, those are the temperate and the polar region.
Right.
The same sonar, when you bring it here, gives you 60% degraded performance.
Yes.
So, right from an exploration perspective itself, there's a massive challenge that, to be able to find. The second aspect is the viability of such an activity.
Right.
I mean, experts say that if you do not have enough resources to be able to exploit it for at least 15 to 20 years, it's not economically viable.
Right. By viability, you mean that your return on investment should be higher.
Yes, return on investment. Because when you set up this whole thing, it's a a serious issue.
Right. How many billions of dollars are we talking of here? How much would it?
I don't want to guess a number.
Right.
I mean,
but it would be in the billions.
It will be a very massive number.
And it would be. Is it more complicated than oil exploration or digging for oil?
Far more.
And why is that the case?
Because as you mentioned, breaking it up into smaller parts. What people are looking at is, because you have to bring it out and in large numbers.
Right.
So what they are looking at it is crushing it into into smaller parts and making a sludge which can be sucked up.
Right.
So that itself, will require a different way of working.
So the difference between oil exploration and polymetallic nodules is that the nodules are small, but they're scattered on the seabed. Whereas oil, you just hit that thing and you can pump out the oil.
Pump it out.
Right.
So they are, for both, rare earth metals and this, they are looking at it to be pulled out.
Right.
So that requires a very different capability.
Yes.
Then also there is now a concern. International Seabed Authority is also fighting an issue of environmental sustainability.
Yes.
So unless that is established, and there are certain countries, which are opposing this.
Right.
When people who missed the bus
in
the beginning in terms of this whole seabed mining requirement.
So why are those countries opposing the seabed mining? Is
because
it because
they were not part of the initial thing. Now, they want to, make sure that others also don't get it.
Right.
So they are opposing, you have messed up the earth enough now.
Yes. And now you're going to the
mess
seabed.
Up the waters.
Right.
And because it will be very difficult to, because see, in land, it remains contained in a smaller area.
Yes.
But in the oceans, it will spread.
Right.
And
the
it will
damage
be very
will
difficult.
Be far
the
more
damage will be far more
widespread.
So it will be extremely difficult to ensure. And when we look at environment impact assessment, there are multiple dimensions to it. I mean, one is, which is not very much well known, is the acoustic habitat degradation.
Right.
Because underwater, speed of sound is 5 times faster.
Yes.
So, and the underwater creatures, I mean, largely the marine mammals and such creatures are dependent on sound for biologically critical functions.
Right.
So if you create a lot of noise because of these human activities,
Absolutely.
it will cause a serious environmental damage.
Serious
so
environmental
that's something we need to factor.
Right.
So even the whole environment impact assessment
Yes.
has to be looked at it from a very different dimension.